Hey folks, Eric here, the Whatever Guy, because it really is whatever for me. And do you folks want to know about these state regulators basically asking Congress to change these hemp and cannabinoid rules through the 2023 Farm Bill? You guys stick around, man, and we'll talk about that. As you guys know me, my name's Eric. I am the Whatever Guy, and I usually shoot videos a couple days a week, basically keeping you guys updated in the world Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, hemp, cannabis, just what's going on around. And today, man, I got a doozy for you guys. And I mean, I kind of want to say I told you so, but I don't want to say I told you so. But in this case, I'm going to have to say it. Like, I mean, I told you guys, like, I've complained many times about the fact that the people that are making the decisions on this 2023 Farm Bill going forward are people that are pushing against this industry all the way around. People don't, they don't like the fact that they've spent these millions of dollars to get these dispensaries and all that set up. And I can understand their argument, guys. Like, I can understand what's going on here because as you see recreational marijuana being legalized in states, you'll notice that the Delta 8 and the minor cannabinoid products are a lot of times being banned in those states. And that's simply because, like I said, these people that spend these millions of dollars, taking these congressmen out and bribing, doing all these bribes and spending all these, application fees and everything that they spend the money on, do not want you getting relief from anybody but them. They don't want you to be able to go down and buy this THC flower across the counter without having to go down and buy a license and buy all this other extraneous crap that all these taxes and stuff that you got to spend and actually have to go to a dispensary to pick it up. You can get this shit shipped right to your house, guys. You can go to Greenleaf Plus right in Pensacola, Florida, and pick up the best THCA flower on the market. If you want it more than online, you can go to borrowhemp.com and order the best THCA on the market with no medical card, and it will be delivered straight to your house, completely legal. And when you smoke this, I promise you, it will be no different than the medical marijuana that you're smoking down there at your local dispensary. THCA is the acidic form of THC. So when you test this, it really tests with no THC. But once you apply heat to it, okay, that decarbonizes that, and that THCA turns into THC, and now we have a viable amount of THC going into our lungs that is comparable to medical marijuana anywhere in the nation. I mean, you can legally buy this across the counter. And as I've said many times before, these people that are spending these millions of dollars they don't want you to come see me to get relief. They want you to come see them. And they're the big dope guy. And I've said many times before, people in the hemp industry, man, we're all going in different directions. Everybody's trying to get, their money and build their brand, but none of us are really paying attention to what's going on. These state regulators, these state cannabis regulators are going to kill our industry if we're not careful. I'm going to flip over to an article over here at Marijuana Moment. And we're just going to read it and take a look at it, and you guys can get an idea of what's going on here. It says state cannabis regulators urge Congress to change hemp and cannabinoid rules through the 2023 Farm Bill. This is a group of state cannabis regulators is asking Congress to change laws around hemp and cannabinoids through the forthcoming 2023 Farm Bill. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the 2023 Farm Bill was actually induced in 2018. It's reintroduced every 5 years. At the end of this month is when that dies. Now, the majority of the Farm Bill is actually SNAP benefits, or what people used to call food stamps. That is basically what the majority of the Farm Bill is. The hemp portion of it is really just a small portion. Okay, it says seeking to adjust federal definition of the crop and modify rules around hemp-derived cannabinoids. The changes are needed, says the Cannabis Regulators Association, because the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized hemp nationwide, inadvertently resulted in a thriving market for intoxicating cannabinoid products that are included or claimed to be included within the definition of hemp. Now, here's the thing, guys. Now he says inadvertently resulted in a thriving market. He's not fucking around, because it's really a $5 billion market in the United States right now, and it's growing. Okay, because people are realizing that they don't have to go and be put on some list so that they can order good quality products. Okay, that's another thing to point out too, guys. As you go to these medical dispensaries, your name is basically placed on a list. They've got all your fucking information, where you live, and it's, for me, it's just a privacy thing. When I ship this to you, we'll get rid of your address until you order again. Like, we don't even know who you are. Like, we know you're over 21. That's all we need to know. Okay, and you can buy this and have it delivered to your house. It says we're going to scroll down here a little bit. I digress. I apologize. I get a little bit fired up about this right here. It says a 2018 Farm Bill defined hemp and cannabis as cannabis containing less than 3% THC, but so far, federal agencies have failed to establish a robust framework for how to regulate hemp-derived cannabinoids. There are 5 specific adjustments that Canada is calling on lawmakers to adopt, and they sent it to them Friday. It says they want an added, they want to, number one, they want to add a definition for hemp-derived cannabinoid products. Number two, they want to define THC in terms of both THCA and Delta-9 THC. Okay, which is what we just talked about a second ago. They want to make sure they get a clear line on THCA. They want to kill THCA. They don't want you getting THCA unless you're buying. And here's the thing, guys. If you go into a medical dispensary right now, most of the brands are already carrying THCA as a product in the dispensary, in the medical dispensary. You can legally buy this in a medical dispensary, but you can also walk across the street to your local vape shop and also legally buy this across the counter without paying the high fees that you're paying in a medical dispensary. Clarify that the 0.3% THC threshold applies only to the plant, and name a federal regulator to set appropriate thresholds for intermediate or final hemp-derived cannabinoid products. Name a federal regulatory agency with a timeline for implementing regulations to protect consumer safety, and ensure that states are not preempted from going beyond federal policies, which should set minimum standards to protect consumer safety. Okay, so the way they've got this right now, guys, is if CANRA gets their way, what they want to do is they want to limit the hemp-derived cannabinoids to a 5 milligrams of THC per package, which would basically be and one milligram of a delta 8 THC or any minor cannabinoid per gummy or whatever type of candy we're talking about. We're talking about a candy or a caramel. It would basically have 1 milligram of delta 8 in it, and you would have 5 caramels in that pack to a total of 5 milligrams. That's basically what they want to do with the minor cannabinoid space, which would basically make it would kill the industry, because like who after that point, like who do you know that is going to get buy something that's got a 1 milligram of delta 8 in it? You're not getting any effects out of that. You're certainly not getting any benefits out of it. As part of those definitions, CANRA also wants lawmakers to factor in THCA, a precursor to Delta-9 THC, when defining cannabinoid thresholds for what qualifies as hemp. Currently, hemp is limited to 0.3% THC by dry weight, but that figure does not include THCA, which the group's letter notes readily converts to Delta-9 THC when heated, combusted, or aerosol, which is what I talked to you guys about a while ago. Further, the letter says that because 0.3% 3% THC limit can yield substantial amounts of THC in heavier items like chocolate bars and cookies, the law should differentiate between THC limits in plants themselves and THC limits in finished products. So basically what they're telling you right here, guys, is that these people out here, these vape shops, are selling shit that is stronger than what they're selling in their medical dispensary. Like as it stands right now, you can legally walk into a vape shop, buy 100 milligram Delta-9 THC chocolate bar that you cannot buy at the medical dispensary down the road. Further, the letter says that because the 3% can yield substantial amounts of THC in heavier items like chocolate bars and cookies. That's the statement. Let's scroll down here. It says CANRA, which recently expanded its membership to include international regulators, is also urging lawmakers to identify, authorize, and fund a federal regulator with a background in public health and consumer protection that would regulate cannabinoid products. So basically, they want to put a godfather, a czar, if that's what you want to call it. I think that's what they do call them as far as in the DEA. I think they do call them czars. But either way, they want to install a czar over the hemp-derived cannabinoid space. Within a short and specified time, the letter says the agency should be required to provide clear definitions around cannabinoids, set minimum requirements for processing and manufacturing ingredients, contaminant and potency testing, packaging, labeling, clarify whether semi-synthetic cannabinoids or biosynthetic cannabinoids are allowed under the definition of hemp, and launch an education and enforcement approach to ensure compliance. Let me explain this semi-synthetic and biosynthetic. For those of you that don't know, Delta 8 THC and those cannabinoids are found in very minute amounts in the hemp plant. So it's not cost effective for us to extract them. Okay, so what they are doing is they are converting the CBD that they get, or the biomass they get, into full spectrum CBD, and then they are converting that to Delta 8 in a lab. And so that is what they mean by semi-synthetic. Even though Delta 8 is a naturally derived cannabinoid, the majority of the Delta 8 out there that you guys are consuming has been converted over from full spectrum CBD, okay, or full spectrum CBD isolate is basically what they converted over from. In addition to action at the federal level, the advocacy group wants Congress to ensure that states and territories go beyond federal policies by setting their own more stringent regulations around hemp and hemp-derived cannabinoids. They basically want to quell everything that's going on in this market. I've said this many times, guys. Like I'm not going to read any more of this because this really gets me fired up. Like when I read articles like this, because we have basically the tobacco, the alcohol, and the marijuana industry all going in the same direction, and every one of those people are making decisions on the 2023 Farm Bill, forcing these, guiding which way this is going to go. And I don't see any articles about the hemp associations, like none of them. Like I don't hear anything about any hemp associations up there arguing for us. Like the only person that I know that would be close to even doing something like that would be Lucas Gilkey and those guys out in hometown hero out in Texas. And right now they're fighting their own fucking battle in Texas itself, the same as Boral Hemp is. So a lot of these, these lawsuits and stuff like that are basically designed to keep us fighting things on the state level and basically ignoring what's going on with this 2023 Farm Bill. If we're not careful, we could find there's a lot of us in this industry that could find ourselves out of work. All right, folks, this is Thewhateverguy signing off. I hope you guys appreciate the article. I hope you guys can find this over at Marijuana Moment. I apologize for being jawed up this morning. It's early in the morning, and I'm a little bit jawed up and obviously a little bit fired up about this article. But in a sense, this is job threatening. So, all right, folks, I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you're having a great week.